I'm going to walk now around Stump Lane because we're at the corner of Stump Lane. Down there is towards Hucklecote, and up here towards Buscombe Noak. And just want to emphasise, as you can see on the signs there, it's a private road. It is privately owned, but it is a public footpath. But please be aware that cars do come down here. It is single track, so if you're walking, you need to be aware of that and be happy that you might need to hug the edges to let cars go by. That's the way into the, on the right there, the Tumps, or Camel's Humps, and the Eastern Camel's Hump, or Tump, is just up above there. But we're going to carry on along Stump Lane, which is looking very beautiful this time of year. And this part of the hill, this path, makes up part of the lower circular walk, which I mentioned in the first part of this video. And if you walk all the way around, it's about a 2-mile circuit. There are a number of kissing gates and stiles and things on this walk, so it is a proper walk rather than one that is advisable if you're not finding it so easy on your feet, or if you're trying to look for a walk with for pushchairs or for the disabled. All the way along this part of Stump Lane, you can look through the trees, and obviously it's very green now, so it appears that you're limited with the vision, but actually you can see down there towards that's the M511A junction through there, which you might be able to hear. And Robinswood Hill is over in the distance there, which you might just be able to make out on the ski slopes. You can just make out down through there. That's Zoom's Court roundabout down through there, and there's some sheep in the fields to see. Occasionally some alpacas and things as well. Right, now then, if you're doing the Fairy Door walk, this is the first important destination, and here and there is Fairy Door number 1. Just a quick look back. The lane's very beautiful. Okay. The fairies are very active, and I've noticed this year that they've been doing some upgrading work on some of the fairy doors, which has been pretty spectacular. Just to look down there, there's some wonderful oak trees on this side of the hill. You see the fields down there towards Hucklecote and on. And that's the middle of the Tumps, or Camel's Humps there. And if you want to walk up through those, the path is just coming up. On the right, you can see the footpath marker there, and on the left the path goes down, which if you follow it through the fields will actually take you down to Larkhay Road in Hucklecote. It's a really nice walk actually. You can also carry on, instead of going to Larkhay Road, you can actually carry on a really good boundary walk that takes you right the way around to the Horse Bear Reserve and the balancing ponds, and You can have really quite a big walk that way, but again, the paths can get a bit wet, so please bear that in mind. We just look up there. That's the path there up through the Tumps, Camel's Humps, and we're going to continue this way. The deer that you're more likely to see around this side of the hill is muntjac. Yes, there's two varieties at least of deer on the hill, and muntjac are much smaller. If you want to see what the real differences are, it might be worth having a look online. We've actually got a wildlife survey, so if you see anything like that, please do click on there and just let us know what you've seen, where you saw it, that type of thing. That'll be a great help. There. One of the things to see as you come along on the Enchanted Walk is what kind of scarecrow is available, or has decided to come and spend the summer months on the side of Chosen Hill. And it looks like we've got Scary Nun again this year. There's an incredible sundial in the garden there, and there's only apparently 2 of those in the country. As I say, you do need to watch out for cars, but it's normally very quiet, and just be aware that it is preferred to keep dogs on leads, especially as you get towards the cottages at Buscombe Noak, because they are private residences and they do have pets of their own. Just have a look up there, lovely woods and things. This is a really important part of the walk, as we just come across here on the left. You might be able to see the golden egg down there. Which is pretty amazing, and believe it or not, it actually started out life as a giant rugby ball, which was affixed to the top of a pub in Gloucester near to Kingsholm Stadium. And in case you're wondering, or if you're new to the area, rugby is quite a big thing here, rugby union, and we have a lot of Gloucester fans from the local area following our Chosen Hill. The golden egg's actually hollow, and it's got lights and everything in it, and we had a look a couple of years ago. It was very interesting. So we're just approaching Buscombe Noak, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop filming now until we get to the pathway, which is just at the end of there, where you can just see a green wheelie bin, and we'll resume the walk or the video at that point. Right, so this is where the path continues. This is one of the most difficult parts of the walk, the lower circular walk through here, because it's usually very boggy if there's been any rain at all, and I'm going to just work my way through here very carefully because it is very boggy, but there's some bricks here and there that people have added, but it's really tricky underfoot at the moment, and if there's any part of the lower circular walk that's going to be difficult to get through at any time, it's going to be here. Let's have another quick look through there. That way, that's Buscombe Noak that we've just come from. Okay. Really oak leaves looking fantastic there. Right. So we're doing fairy doors at the moment. But if you get to this point and you're looking for a quick way back to towards the top, this pathway here will take you to the entrance of the tumps, or the top of the tumps, camel's humps, and the option to climb the steep steps up to the trig point, or to take the direction with a little less gradient to the left that goes around to Five Ways Meet before coming back past the field gate and up to the trig point and the old radio mast. We're going this way, and there's all sorts of little ways you can cut through. For instance, if it's really tricky on the path we're going down this way, you can cut through the woods there. And then, as I say, this is the lower circular walk, and you can start to see on the left hand side there Zoon's Court, the landmark farm. Now what we're actually walking through at the moment is the furthest point of the new woods, and the new woods were added when Purton Court, which is the farm on Purton Lane in Churchdown, was taken over, exchanged hands in the late 90s, and some of you will remember that this all used to be fields, and the farmer used to keep young stock, young cattle in these fields here. We're going to rejoin the path in a moment. I'm just going to go down through here so that you can have a quick look at Zoon's Court and the view of Gloucester. This is clearly the work that the farm owner has been doing to clear back some of the growth on the boundaries of the field. So it's quite busy here, and come into the open here and get a better view of what I'm trying to see down. Oops, that hurt. Mind the barbed wire if you're walking through. There's barbed wire on the ground as well as brambles and things. But if you can see that, that's Zoon's Court proper. Over to the left is Robinswood Hill, and in the distance you can see Horsebear Reserve, and there's the balancing ponds. Just see the water there. Beyond that, the Walls factory. You can see the big chimney at Gloucestershire Royal Hospital. There's Gloucester Cathedral, and if you look very carefully to the right of Gloucester Cathedral, there's a sort of a tower block there, and then a little bit further over to the right, just before you start to get to Mayhill, you can see the big stand at Kingsholm. And as you go further around, the blue building is Thomas Richards School, and then that's the Barnwood bypass just in front of that, and you can just see the sign as you're approaching Armbridge Court roundabout. Right, I think we're just going to take a little step through here, because that's actually quite difficult to get through that. This path here goes straight up to Five Ways Meet, I just mentioned it a moment ago, and this is where the path proper on the other side of the lower circular walk goes down towards Zoon's Court, but it's all a bit boggy, and the field's been cultivated, so the path's not very easy to see just at the moment. We're going to carry on this way. Again, a little bit difficult under feet, but this will dry out quickly along here. Now if you're doing the lower circular walk, although it looks like the path naturally goes on from Buscombe Note towards Tinkers Hill and the Wet Steps, that pathway down through there is the lower circular walk and carries on right the way through the new woods for some distance. That's really tricky through there at the moment, really wet, and I'm wondering if we're going to struggle to get through up here this morning. Right, so that's just looking back there, and where I've just described, if you turn right there, that's continuing clockwise around the lower circular walk. The paths are very tricky, and this is one of the other very tricky parts, which I may need to stop again, and yeah, I'm going to need to stop and resume filming in a moment. So just looking back through where I've come, that's really tricky, so you need to be quite confident of getting through at the moment. Okay, we're going to turn and we're going to go up this way. So this is the path that goes from Buscombe Note to Tinkers Hill and to the Wet Steps. And again, I'm going to have to stop for a moment. So we just made our way through there. So this may not be the best time to take the full fairy route, but it will change and it will get drier, and if the weather stays as it is at the moment, it won't take long. But there's some wonderful woods to see. Over that side of the fence there, that's the new woods, and down through those trees somewhere is the lower circular walk, and up here are the more established woods, which are all part of the Woodland Trust area. And if you've been following for since the start or for a while, you'll be aware of the work the Woodland Trust did on the paths, and we supported their grant application. It was a wonderful bit of work 3 summers ago now, but it means that there's a path, a walk around the top of the hill that can be navigated all year round. Unfortunately, this bit isn't part of it. Right, so we just got through that bit, and that was really tricky as well, because there's brambles coming down from the bushes there. And we're going to continue up through here, and this is a good bit of path. So again, we're on the path between Buscombe Note and the bottom of the Wet Steps, which goes on to Tinkers Hill. And if you really want to follow it straight on, it can actually take you back to the green in Churchdown. But we're interested in something a bit nearer than that, and that is the next fairy door, which is coming up imminently. This path to the left will take you down around the bottom of Tinkers Hill, and you can actually rejoin the lower circular walk if you go that way, heading towards Purton if you go that way too. But this tree here is a very important destination. It's where number 2 Chosen Hill is, and if you just step down carefully in there, you can see the fairy door. Okay, right. Now, if you continue up the path, the bottom of the Wet Steps is not very far up past that bend. We're not going to go that way because I'm focusing on the fairy doors, and the the Enchanted Walk, and so there's another important step now, which is the mussel well, which is actually up through these trees, and there's a bit of a bypass of the wet steps, which a few years ago, before the Woodland Trust did the work, would have been pretty dicey trying to get up there now, but since they did all the work, it's pretty cool. This isn't too slidey, so I'm able to walk up quite easily at the moment. Just get the bearings. That's where we just come from. And around here, this is the hollowed out tree that you might see written about if you read the blogs about the mussel well and so on. Lots of places for fairies to hide in there around these woods. And then just a little bit further here is the mussel well, and the spring is actually further up behind. But the really interesting thing today, I don't know whether you can see in the sunlight, there's clearly been so much water recently, it's actually flowing, and that's quite something to see. When we were kids, the path towards the what we called Camel's Humps then, from the side of Churchdown we came from, used to cross along here, just a little bit further down, I believe, but it's all changed since the Woodland Trust took over and put a bit of purpose behind some of the paths. But that's what you'll see if you find the mussel well. I think it's a cattle trough really, but please have a look at the blog about the mussel well, and it also links through to a very interesting piece that someone else wrote that's well worth a read, and especially if you like the mystic kind of things. So we're going to go back. So this is where we've just come from on the left there, and we're going to carry on up in what is bypassing the wet steps. I'm just going to put the camera down and see if you can see the deer tracks there. These woods have deer in them frequently, and again, whilst nobody's suggesting keeping dogs on the lead the whole time, please be aware that, especially if you've got a dog that can run very quick, you could suddenly find a deer, or they could disturb a deer, and it'd be very distressing for the deer to be chased. So please keep dogs under control. So we're going to join the wet steps just for the last bit, because the bank is a bit too slippy there. So this is the other end. Just going to go under. And there you are, that's the wet steps. This is the top of the wet steps, and the Soldier's Walk is ahead of us. So that's the top steps, and if you're looking for the dragon, he'd be somewhere up at the top of there on the right hand side, and well worth a look if you want to throw in some extras on your Enchanted Walk. Hasn't found his way onto the map yet, and we must talk to the elves about having that changed. Okay, that's the route through to the parish burial ground and the church. You know, if you're trying to do a loop at the top. Okay. So the fairy doors get a bit more frequent now, and if you look here, you'll find number 3 on one side, and then number 4 is just on the other. Okay, we've just come from that direction back towards the wet steps, and we're going to continue this way along the Soldiers Walk, which is lovely, and this is part of the Woodland Trust walk that we talked about earlier. You get some good bluebells along here, and it's just up here on the right hand side that I first saw white hybrid bluebells, which are very pretty, but there are actually white bluebells all the way around now in different places. Now, you may not know, but there was a historic fort on the top of Chosen Hill, and all this earthwork here is actually part of it. And if you look at old maps, you'll be able to see it. But we wonder if this is called the Soldiers' Walk because it's where historic soldiers used to walk to patrol the boundary. Or could it be something a bit more recent? There was a very active home guard in Churchdown during World War II. Is it something to do with that? This was a real bog, and you can see it's built up, but they've been very careful. It's really, really solid underfoot. It's been here 3 years, and it was very light grey when it was first put in. You can have a look at some of the videos here. We'll show you. And so we're now approaching 5 Ways Meet, and another fairy door called 5 Ways Meet because there are 5 paths that meet here, and you can really go in all sorts of directions. Okay, so we're coming along from the Soldiers' Walk, and down that way, the path in front that takes you straight down to the top of the Tumps, Camel's Humps, and the first path up from just after Buscombe Note that I mentioned. Whereas that path and the steps down on the right there take you down towards Zoon's Court and the second path up that we mentioned. And then behind is the Soldiers' Walk that we've just come along, and then here we've got fairy door number 5. Now before we leave here, I'm going to miss one of the fairy doors out just because of the length of the video, but if you actually follow the rest of these steps down and then go around to the left, one of the fairy doors can be found about 50-60 yards further along the path towards the Tumps. I'll let you guess which one it is, but we're going to go up the steps now. Now over on the left there is the link path, and if you watched the video that we published a week or 2 ago, that's the link path through to the parish burial ground. But we're going this way. We're going to carry on at the last bit to the trig point. Here we've got the field gate, and that's the path that goes back through the middle of the reservoirs to the church. But if you look at this tree here, we've got another fairy door. They're very good, aren't they? Right, so up the steps, which again were added in the summer of 2021 by the Woodland Trust. And this here is the trig point. And the view is spectacular in this direction, looking down the southwest. If you look carefully, you can see the River Severn down near Arlingham to the right of Robinswood Hill. Is the Millennium Disc, and just down to the left, that's the steps in the path that goes straight down to the top of the Tumps and Camel's Hump. And the Woodland Trust have very kindly just replaced the handrail there and cleared back some of the undergrowth, and they've done a really good job. They've replaced a step or two as well. Awesome.